Okay, this is the November 10th, 2020 meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee for White Lake Township at 7:04 p.m. Justin, would you help me with the attendance tonight of the board members?
Sure. Andrea Voorhees.
Present.
Mary Carlock.
Here.
Kathleen Asseltine.
Here.
Rhonda Grubb. Deb Darren.
Here.
CJ Brada.
Here.
Rhonda is absent.
Okay, now we're gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you can put up the flag, Brian, thank you. Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the
republic
for which it
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's a time delay in that. This makes it a little bit difficult. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Justin, is there any changes to the agenda?
No, ma'am.
Anybody else have any changes, additions, deletions? Can we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Deb seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the next thing, of course, is we have two sets of minutes one from September 1st and one from October 14th. Is there any corrections or changes that are required for the minutes, which we were sent previously? Okay, can we have a motion to accept the minutes as presented? I'll go ahead and put them together in the same motion, both September and October.
Make a motion
Thank you.
to accept the minutes.
Support.
And a support from Kathleen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
So just as don't we all have to say a roll call vote, you guys, since we're virtual?
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm sorry. We should. You're right, Andrea.
All of a sudden it's like, I thought I hit the first one and I told you like, okay, now I have to say something. So yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
No, you're good. It happens.
Justin, I'm going to give that to you then.
Yeah, so I apologize. I should have mentioned that because we're on
I forgot
that. So just to restate the previous motion for approval of the agenda, that was supported by Kathleen, or made by Kathleen, supported by Deb. So if I'll do a roll call vote to approve the agenda. So Deb Darren.
Yes.
Kathleen Asseltine.
Aye.
Andrea Voorhees.
Yes.
Mary Carlock.
Yes.
CJ Brada.
Yes.
Rhonda Grubb. So that passes unanimously. Then we'll just, again, approval of the both sets of the minutes from September and October. Deb made the motion with Kathleen supporting it. So the roll call vote, Deb Darren.
Yes.
Kathleen Asseltine.
Yes.
CJ Brada.
Yes.
Mary Carlock.
Yes.
Andrea Voorhees.
Yes.
Rhonda Grubb. Motion passes unanimously. Sorry about that.
Very controversial items. All right, the next item is call to the public, and I might turn it over to Justin and our facilitator, Brian, to see if there's, I guess there are some people in our maybe you could give instruction if they would like to request to speak at this time.
Yes, we have one person with their hand up, 6289. You can speak. You'll have to press *6 to unmute and then say your name and address for the record. Okay, 6289.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Hey, Justin.
Can you hear me?
I'm not sure how to raise my hand,
Oh,
but I
we
would
got a
like
couple.
to.
We got a couple people unmuted at once. It seems like.
So should I just be speaking to have my YouTube muted so I don't hear that?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, so my name is Don Sentner, and I live at 8400 Soka Drive in White Lake.
Okay,
I don't know if anybody is hearing this, and I can't tell what's going on
Yeah,
here. This is very
we can-
strange.
We can hear you. Thank you. We've got your name and address for the record.
well, he's muted now, so I don't know.
Okay.
We can hear you, Don. So
Okay.
you've got the floor for public comment.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask a couple of questions. You know, I know some of this is going to be about the new park facility, correct? Today's discussion?
Yeah.
Have you guys done any research to the possibilities, including some pickleball courts in your new park or any of the parks that might be in White Lake?
Yeah, so if you stay tuned for the rest of the meeting, there's going to be a presentation on what we've done to get to this point of the design phase. There was a public input session back in October, and we had a survey on our website for a couple of weeks that had over 100 responses, and people were able to tell us what they would like, and that type of active recreation was somewhat lower on the list.
Okay.
But it was still brought up, and I think we've had other pickleball players come to our meetings, and so we are looking for a place for pickleball somewhere in the township because there's a big demand for it.
Yes, there is. I did some research on it. The NBC News 2019 article said that it was the fastest growing sport in the world. I play actively, 4 to 5 times a week, but I drive to Clarkston to play. I drive to Heartland to play, West Bloomfield, Canton. I drive all over, and I live in White Lake. And when I go to these courts, just, it's incredibly busy. I mean, Clintonwood Park in Clarkston has 8 courts, and every day of the week, there's probably 15 to 20 people waiting to play while all the courts are filled.
Wow.
So, and the health benefits are incredible. It's certainly beats a treadmill. If anybody spent an hour on a treadmill, I can play pickleball for 2-3 hours straight. Of course, then when we leave these facilities, we're also stopping at the local stores and restaurants to grab breakfast or lunch or something. I mean, it would be great to have something, in my opinion, locally, and it is incredibly popular. It's been on national television. The nationals that they hold in Naples, Florida, has been televised all over the country. So it's a very, very popular sport. There are ambassadors available. So if you would ever need additional information, they've done a lot of research already to help townships and communities come up with costs, what it would cost to build a court, what the best design for that is. So if there's any way you guys want to keep my contact information, I have access and I know people that do that, and I can help provide some of that information. I would certainly love to see that come to our community.
Yeah, Don, so I think you have our email address, and you may have corresponded with Hannah in our office. And as Mary said, you are not the first one that we've heard from that pickleball is something that some of our residents would like to see. And whether it's, at Stanley Park, this new property, or we can, squeeze it in at one of our other park properties,
Right.
we want to, expand upon and provide that type of activity for recreation that people want. So you reinforcing that is just, adding coal to the fire. So thank you for that comment. And if you want to leave your information with us, I think you have it already, our email, if you want to.
Sure.
I think we've already corresponded with you, so I think we're good there.
Okay. So I'll just send her an email then and just tell her to leave my information. And if you want me to do any follow-up or research, I'd be glad to help you guys out. Is
Yeah,
that what
I appreciate that, Don. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. That sounds
Thanks
good.
for calling in tonight.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye. Is there anyone else?
No other callers with their hands raised.
Do they?
I don't know how to raise my hand, but
Tell them again
Steve,
how.
what is-
Okay, *9 to raise your hand.
Okay. Who's the start line?
There we are.
Say
Okay,
your,
6646 will go first, and say your name and address for the record, please.
All right, Steve Woodard, and it's 953 Schuyler in White Lake. And my question is about the tree work that's being done in the park. I saw them over there working. I don't know if it's complete yet. But my understanding is that was what was being waited on before they could actually open the park to the public.
Sure. So Dawson's did finish that work at the end of October. And we actually just today went out and staked out some locations for park rule signs. And we have to get those installed before we can have people in the park. So I would hope by this weekend that we can open the park if we get those signs up, and we'll make an announcement on all of our social media, Facebook. We'll spread the word when the park is open, but we're wanting to do that in the next few days, definitely before Thanksgiving.
just as long as everybody knows there's no improvements there besides what was left by the campground, so we'll call it rustic.
It'll be very rustic for the near future.
Will there be any kind of makeshift temporary parking lot, for lack of a better word, hopefully up on the Elizabeth Lake Street level?
Yeah, that's the plan. We want to get the park open, and part of that is making it accessible, so that there will be some type of temporary parking up there.
Room for 3 or 4 cars right now, and then temporarily, hopefully we won't have 1 million people there right away, because really don't have any facilities yet.
I have seen a few people wandering down to the waterfront. It's rare, but there are some people that are wandering down there. So there's a little bit of activity going on.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that was it for me. I'll mute myself here.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Now it's 2634, your turn. If you press *6, you can unmute yourself and then say your name and address for the record.
Yes, Bill Dow, 580 Elkinford. I am the Vice President of Brendel Heights. We were involved in this from the beginning. When we met with Rick at his initial meetings, along with members of Lakewood Village, we were told that Brendel Heights and Lakewood Village would have representation on the Master Plan Committee. And we're trying to find out when that's going to happen. It seems like you guys are well into the process, but you have a long way to go. So we'd like to be involved. We're a good advocate for communicating with our subdivisions.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the township supervisor. I believe Deb lives around the lake, and she is going to be the representative, as she's already on the Parks Committee. So I don't know at this time if there's going to be any additions to the Master Plan Committee. So that's
Yeah, really not a separate.
that may change in the future, but as of now, the committee has been established.
I mean, it's not not specific to that park. It's just a regular Parks Committee, but yeah, we don't speak for the supervisor.
That's interesting. I mean, like I said, he told us at the initial beginning of this process to get everybody on board that this is how it was going to go down. So now it's going to change. I mean, this you have a lot of residents on this lake. This is a private lake that is becoming public. So we're trying to work together. We'd like to be included.
Yeah, and I'm not, please don't misconstrue my words for speaking for the township supervisor. We want as much input as possible, and you're welcome to attend every meeting, provide input, talk to us before, during, and after meetings. But just at this time, the committee is being represented by Deb Darren for those homeowners around the lake. Well, I shouldn't say that, but she is a homeowner around the lake, and so she is providing that perspective, not representing all of it. Does that make sense? We're not trying to uninclude anybody, and I hope I'm making that clear, that we want as much participation as possible, whether someone is on or not on a committee. I mean, we could have 50 members of the committee if everybody wanted to be involved around the lake.
Justin, I might add that these are all public. This one and the other committee meeting are all public, and we ask as many people to participate as possible as part of the public.
Thank you.
Yeah, so please just continue to, attend our meetings, remote or otherwise. It's usually fairly casual.
Mhm.
Understood. Like I said, I'm a good vehicle. Steve Woodard's a good vehicle to communicate with people on the lake. I mean, we're neighbors now.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that everything goes smoothly.
Absolutely. So we just encourage you to come to every meeting and also talk directly to Deb, also offline. Deb, we're putting you on the spot here. But yeah, just keep attending the meetings. And obviously we had a big workshop last month where we took a lot of public input, particularly from the neighbors there. So that's another venue.
Yes, I attended the meeting. Is there an email for Deb that you could share?
Sure, for my email? Sure.
Well, Deb, if you don't want to put I'm the conduit to the Parks Committee, so any comments that go to them should go through me, and I can disperse them. I don't think Deb's email should go out to our 33,000 residents and on the YouTube channel. So my email is Justin, my name, the letter Q, at whitelakeTWP.com. Any comments can come to me, and I will get them to the Parks Committee and the Master Plan Committee. And then I am available. I'm here Monday through Friday all day. So if there's something offline that you'd like to talk about that, not during a meeting, I'd be happy to do so. And that goes for any resident of this township that wants to talk about this.
Perfect. Has Beckett and is it Radar, have they been awarded the contract?
Yeah, some time ago, I think, Justin.
Yeah, back in September, I believe, and the contract. And again, this isn't meant to be a back and forth discussion, but they did get awarded the contract for the master plan, and then to assist with the grant preparation, and that was all done at public interviews at the Parks Committee, and then the Township Board took final action on executing the contract.
I've got it. Thank you very much. It's just these days it's a little tough to get information, so I'm trying to keep everybody updated. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for calling.
Yeah, and we also this email address also goes to me too. It's I think it's on the township website, but parksandrec@whitelaketwp.com is just another email address that would come to me that I would get. So, and like I said,
Is it and spelled out, Justin, just to clarify for everyone
Yep.
at home?
And
Okay.
spelled out. Yep. So Parks and Rec, all lowercase, all, no spaces, at whitelaketwp.com. And then, like I said, I'm here every day. Both of those emails would go to me, and I'd follow up. Because like I said, we want anyone involved who wants to be.
Okay, is there any more callers?
There are a few callers still on the line. If you press *9 if you'd like to speak.
There's one with their hand raised, Brian.
Yeah, that was the last caller.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah.
They might be staying on for the remainder of the presentation, as well, so.
Okay, no hands raised.
Okay, so we're gonna move on with the agenda. And that's a new business where we're gonna have a presentation. We had the workshop where we had a great turnout at our open outside when it was warm, and it's still warm today, last month. And now I think that we'll have some next steps from the consultant Beckett Rader.
Yeah, and I don't want to steal their thunder. They have some exciting stuff to share tonight. I just want to publicly thank them for all their work facilitating our visioning session last month. We had over 50 people attend, and I believe they said it was their first event like that they had held outdoors. So we didn't have a 75-degree sunny day a few weeks ago, but we had to contend with the wind. But we still had a great turnout. So I just want to thank them and thank all of the members of the public who attended and who filled out the survey online that was live on the website for a couple of weeks. So all of that has been synthesized and used by Beckett and Rader to craft some of the concepts that you'll see tonight. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Brian and Caitlin.
Great, thank you, Justin. I appreciate the kind words, and we've been having a lot of fun. We visiting the site, walking around, doing the visioning session that Justin mentioned, and hearing your thoughts and ideas, and then doing some sketching and some doodlings. And we want to show you some of that today and get some of your thoughts and reactions. Whoops, see if I can get there we go. So our goal today is to give you an overview of the public input that we received, and that came in the form of the visioning session as well as the online survey that the township shared through social media and its website. We have some draft sketches to show you and review with you, like I said, get your thoughts and ideas on those. And then we'll talk a little bit about how to synthesize into a preferred concept as a next iteration. So we'll proceed through that series of events. The public input meeting, as mentioned, was October 14th. We had about 50 attendees actually sign in on the sign-in sheets, but we know that there were some other folks there as well that didn't sign in. So we had a really good attendance. This was one of our first experiences doing a outdoor COVID public input meeting. So thank you for that, and we're really pleased with the attendance and the participation that your community gave. Online survey, we had over 125 responses, which is outstanding. We're happy to see that. For the public visioning session, for those of you who were there, you'll remember that we went through a series of exercises, and then we gave out little stickers for everybody to vote on their preferences. And this is a summary of that activity. So for this particular question, this was what aspects of the park property should stay the same as they are today. Mentions mean that it was on the list of more than one small group. So you'll remember that we had 4 different tables.
Mm-hmm.
Each table was independently doing the exercises. So for example, keep large trees, preserve the tree line. It had 3 mentions. So that means that item showed up on 3 out of the 4 tables. And then the combined votes would be the number of stickers that that item received on those 3 tables. So if you look at these, the sort of the top rated results of what should stay the same in the park are, if I had to put it in words, I'd say keep it natural. Keep large trees, natural lakefront, no seawall, no encroachment into mud lake, don't change mud lake, no parking or structures visible from the water, as natural as possible, et cetera, et cetera. And I think you'll also see that that continues to be the theme in the next question, which is what improvements or amenities would you like to see in the park? Some of the top vote getters, restrooms with flushing toilets, or clean restrooms, hiking, walking, biking trails, cross-country ski trails, fitness trails, pavilions, nature trails, maintain the park, et cetera, et cetera. So again, the idea of providing some fairly low impact amenities, but giving access to the natural features of the property. And then at the end of the visioning session, we, if you remember, we sat in the pavilion and combined all of the results from all the tables onto a master list. And then as the meeting concluded, everybody took additional stickers and voted on these master list collective priorities. So these, as natural as possible, 21 votes, nature trails, 19 votes, no parking or structure visible from the water, 18 votes, 0 light pollution. Active sports did show up on this list, and it was sort of an amalgamation of disc golf, dog park, pickleball, that received 12 votes. So it is certainly something that the community desires and should find a place somewhere in the park system. And some other items continuing down the list, again, reflect that same idea of low impact improvements providing access to the natural features of the property. The online input survey was really more of the same, maintaining the natural look and feel of the property, but providing access and lower impact amenities. Trails, playgrounds, picnicking facilities, canoe and kayak launch, and restrooms were some of the top things that we repeatedly saw on the online survey. And for those of you that may be interested, all the raw data for both the visioning session as well as the online survey were provided to the township and are available for review. So from here, we took that information and started doing some doodling, some sketching as to what this park may look like. And what I'm about to show you are 3 different concepts. The first concept starts with the lowest impact improvements and then progresses so that the third concept has more improvements, more amenities. And as we look at these, please don't think of these as isolated concepts. Think of them more as a kit of parts. So after we look at the 3 concepts, we'll discuss the 3 of them as a whole, as a kit of parts, where you could very easily say, I like this aspect of concept A, but this other aspect of concept B or C. And we'll take that kit of parts and assemble those into a preferred concept. So this is concept A, and you'll see up here ghosted in is a rough layout of the potential township center with entrance and road geometry that aligns with that potential layout. We're looking at a small parking lot up by Elizabeth Lake Road with a playground and a couple of shade shelters, picnic facilities at the playground. And then the road would come down the slope, pedestrian access connecting to the township developments as well as Elizabeth Lake Road, roadway and pedestrian path coming down to a parking lot and turnaround at the lower level. Again, picnic shelters and facilities down at this level, close and convenient to the parking. And then from there, the rest of the park is really a series of walking trails, both paved as well as boardwalk through the wetlands, which, by the way, on all these concepts, the greener color is wooded. The more bluish green color is wetlands within the woods. And then this central area is the open area, remnant of the campground with the large mature trees. So this lower area, we've established a series of walking trails, boardwalks where they cross the wetlands, a couple different loops, and then potentially looking forward to the future of access through to the township center and the library and other destinations northwest.
Hello?
In this particular concept, we've shown a fairly simple observation and fishing pier at the lake, and then allowing the shoreline to revert to a naturalized condition, a naturalized riparian condition, with looking at rushes and sedges and other types of riparian vegetation that's common along the lake shore. Progressing to the next concept, you see this starts to have a few more amenities added. Again, using a roadway and walking path geometry that works with the potential future township development. Again, playground and small parking area on the top side of the hill. Roadway access coming down, picnic shelter in this first small clearing with a small parking area along the road. Roadway coming further down with another small parking area, and then a main parking area with a turnaround loop. Additional shelters, picnic shelters in this location, and then potentially looking at a larger shelter or band shell type improvement in this central clearing where small performances could take place with people setting up blankets and chairs, portable chairs on the lawn. These little dots around this path would be nodes of picnic tables or grills, basically small gathering areas, so that there's more opportunity for more small groups in addition to the more formalized shelters. Again, walking paths throughout the lower area of the park, adding some more trail networks so there's some more diversity and more opportunity rather than the two simple loops that were in the previous concept. And then this option also shows a larger observation or fishing pier that reaches further out into the lake and gives people the opportunity to really experience being out on the water, but not in a boat. You know, it's a pretty unique perspective to be out on the water and able to look back at shore and to experience the unobstructed breeze coming across the surface of the lake. So it's a very different experience than a observation pier that is on the shore. Moving on to the next concept. This one has some additional amenities yet. We took the liberty of looking at a little bit different geometry up by Elizabeth Lake Road. And with some additional coordination of the township development, there may be an opportunity to look at a small amphitheater or performance venue up on the upper side of the hill. We've drawn it in this location, but there may also be opportunity for it over on this side. That's something that we can continue to study. But the benefit of having it up here is that all the parking that's associated with a future township hall could serve double duty, and in service this allow additional people to access that venue without having to go all the way down into the lower end of the park. This concept does continue to have a road coming down into the lower end of the park. This provides a split so that at this juncture, it would turn into a one-way network with a loop through the lower area, small parking areas dispersed throughout this loop. So rather than one large parking area, we have small blocks of parking distributed along the roadway. Again, shelters, the picnic table and grill areas that we talked about before, a larger shelter that's thinking of winter could even be a warming shelter. So that's cross-country skiers using the park, or this area here and the one-way parking network would also be an ideal configuration to have, for example, a charity holiday tree display where people can meander these paths, look at the trees, and vote or donate to the various charities that have put the trees together. That's just one example. There are many things like that could take place. For the lakefront, we've shown a couple shelters along the lakefront, an accessible canoe kayak launch, and then again, the larger observation pier, which could even have a shelter out on the pier. If any of you have been to Crosswinds Marsh in Romulus, this is something similar to that, where it's pretty nice to be out on the water and have that shelter there as well. One thing I forgot to mention is in the survey results, there were a couple mentions of adult fitness stations. And in this concept, those could be located up here, which is nice with the retirement facility just directly across the road. So that I think that's a synergistic relationship and could be a nice amenity. So these are the three general concepts for layout alternatives. At our next meeting, we'll get much further into detail about specific elements. For example, what might the shelters look like, or thinking more about interpretive signs and benches, trash cans, all those little details and accoutrements we'll get into at our next meeting. But today we really want to focus on the program of the park, the amenities that are being provided, and how they're laid out so that they have good relationships with each other. And having said that, I'll just put up a slide here with the three concepts side by side. They get a little small, but at least we can see them all together. And would really like to hear the committee's input on your thoughts on the bits and pieces of each concept that you may like or not like. And then we can use that to continue refining and work our way towards a refined concept for our next meeting.
Maybe we can go around the table and, it's hard to comment just because we just saw it all at once. I don't know. I will have some more time to think about it between now and the next meeting. But
yeah, absolutely.
Andrea, your face is closest to me on my list here. Do you have any initial comments or thoughts? Obviously there's lots of wetlands, and that kind of keeps our concepts visually similar. Lots of ideas within those buildable spaces, though. Andrea, did you want to say anything, or I can?
Didn't hear my name. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. Yeah, I liked A, but I'm a natural park type of person. And to me, like, A was basic, B was busy, and C was busier. So to me, the more, that's how I'd like to add. Sorry.
No, that's legit.
It is.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it when I was, especially after you compared the three like all together. And I'm like, yep, I'm still thinking busy, and busier. So I mean, the concepts themselves are good, like the basic things that you put into them. I just don't like I definitely don't like C because it's the busiest. Because it's a beautiful park, and I just don't want to see. I think it absolutely does need some development, but C, I think, would just ruin all the nature part of it.
Yeah, and I should also mention that there, in all three of these concepts, there are areas where we will need to encroach a little bit into wetlands. We will need to remove some trees.
Yeah.
In these concepts, we've tried to do that surgically so that we're doing that in the areas with the least environmental impact.
Yep.
So for example, where we do need to encroach into wetlands, we're doing so in areas where they're not very high quality. Where we do need to take some trees down, we're doing so to preserve the best trees and take down the trees of lesser value.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Just after you commenting that, but yeah, and one of the reasons I really don't look C after just continuing to study these is I don't like the big pier on C. Because I don't mind, just it seems like C to me just appears from this angle bigger. Maybe it's not just the way it looks, but
I think that's the same pier.
Yeah, more like I agree. You're probably right, Mary. So. But
I want to ask Brian as well, do you plan on leaving the large mature trees at the front of the park that were in the study that were brought up by the tree care company?
Our hope would certainly be to do so.
Okay.
We need to have some more discussion with coordination with the township development layout so that we can connect roadways in a way that we can preserve those trees. That's certainly our hope and goal.
And this is my last question. Were you guys able to find a really old tree that was down there?
Rick talked about.
There's supposed to be a really old tree down there, and
A beech tree, I think,
sure,
Beech,
sure.
Beechwood.
I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if we saw that particular tree, but there are many very significant trees down in the park.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I'm done.
Okay, CJ, do you want to continue?
Sure. First, I just want to thank you, Brian, for your diligence and for presenting us with 3 different proposals tonight to look at. I really appreciate that. Based on, what I've heard and my thoughts, I'm a previous resident who used to live on the lake myself. And based on what I've seen from the township, based on tonight, the survey, I favor, like Andrew said, I like to plan to keep it as natural as possible. I'm a little bit concerned about the overlook into the lake, as that's one of the major turning areas in the lake where jet skiers typically come. I wouldn't want to put a pier too far out because it's already more of a narrow part of the lake going down to Mud Lake. It'd be a concern of mine. I did like and see the amphitheater that you had up at the road, because I think that should be a feature included in the park, but kept away from the lake for noise pollution for the residents, but allow the township to have a space where they can have a gathering for the public at the roadside, somewhere where everyone can gather, kind of like what Milford has, but have it in our town center, which would be appropriate by the road, I feel. One question I wanted to ask, you mentioned a paved paths. Do you plan on having them paved, or are they going to be like a decomposed granite, like a crushed granite pathway throughout the park?
That's a more detailed discussion that we should have at our next meeting. I think there are options for that. That's certainly, and it could be a combination. We could have a hierarchy of the path system where the primary paths are paved, where some of the other paths that go out into the woods could be a crushed aggregate that is still accessible and meets ADA requirements. So those are some questions. We have similar questions about I shouldn't say questions, but we have similar options for parking and roadways. Whether those those are gravel similar to Bloomer Park with paved barrier-free spaces, or we could also look at porous asphalt or porous concrete or other options that provide some some environmental benefits and stormwater management above and beyond normal paving.
Right.
That's just a preview for next time we're together.
Yeah, and I know the residents really like the Bloomer Park. It's got high awards from the state, and people seem to like the natural environment. The only other thing I'd like to add, though, is I know in the survey a lot of people wanted restrooms, and to bring water and sewer all the way down to pretty much the middle of the park, I think would probably not be cost effective. Maybe if there's a way we can kind of put it in somewhere up by the playground area, if there would be a playground area up there by the parking lot, that might be something that we could easily tap into the water and sewer on Elizabeth Lake Road at a cheaper cost. So,
yeah. And we can also talk about off-grid restrooms. And then, with the town center project, maybe there are some synergies there as well, with restrooms that are accessible from the outside when the buildings are closed. So there may be some synergies and in location and development costs that we could talk about.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking the time to hear our input. And like I said before, I kind of favor like Andrea, but I just want to hear everyone else's input as well. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, CJ.
Kathleen, I see your picture up there.
Yes, I agree with the observation fishing pier. I think considering, the neighbors and the other residents, that maybe it's a little intrusive. I definitely like the kayak idea. I also agree with CJ and Andrea about we want to keep it as natural as possible, but I think I'm going to have to go with C. I think that we can have it natural, but have it mixed. I like the idea of the playground within the forest. I love the location of the amphitheater near the township hall and kind of away from the lake itself, and it would be accessible. I know the police have activities and the fire department have activities. I also like the fitness center, which is also located closer to where maybe seniors or other people might have more access to that. So I think we can still have it natural, but still have some of those features that C would include.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Kathleen. And that's great that you're picking out bits and pieces of each concept. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Right. Deb, I can't see you, but I know you're there.
Okay, great. I have a bits and pieces of all three. Starting with A, I think the smaller pier is a better option. I do live on the lake, and I don't feel that would be a beneficial to be sticking out into the lake. I think if people are going to do a kayak, they can just push it right off the beach. I don't know about a formal kayak area. I like part of C in that I do like the amphitheater, but I don't like a senior fitness center, and I don't like a play structure, being that schools have play structures and a couple of our other parks already do, when I'm hearing people calling in and asking for the pickleballs instead. So if we want senior activity, the pickleball is great. If we bring children, they love to run around the grassy areas, the trails, and then go to the beach anyway. Play structures are nice, but like I said, schools. So I would like a concept or the feasibility of the pickleball instead of that play structure or fitness area. Then I do like the amphitheater there. I'm not sure about taking the parking lot so far down. But another question, how much electricity is there going to be, like in the amphitheater or in the picnic structure or in the, in the pavilion area? And I do like in B and C, that one trail, I do like it crisscrossing in the center just to give more hiking and trail way. So anyway, so that's my.
Yeah, thank you, Deb.
Great.
I would imagine that the township would want some level of electricity available within the pavilions. That if if you're going to look at a reservation basis for those, that's certainly an amenity that I think folks would appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, Mike Powell is a guest for us tonight from the board. I know that he might have a few thoughts. Can't see you, but I know you're there also.
I'm typically extremely quiet, but I'll try to come out of my shell here tonight.
Thank you, Mike.
I am super impressed with not only the layouts, but also the observations from the committee. I'm very impressed with the good points by everyone. In picking out a couple things, I like the idea of the amphitheater up near is Elizabeth Lake Road. I think that's a great idea. I believe that we saw out there, Marie and group, a building with a well, electricity, and certainly that would be an ideal spot for the indoor flushing toilets. So that, we have sewer right there as well. And so I don't know exactly where that building is compared to where the amphitheater is. So that's something that makes some sense. There, is that where it is?
Yeah, it's roughly right where I have the cursor now.
Ah, yes, okay. So we were thinking about saving that. I know the township did a lot to try to save that. I looked at it, it's in very good structural condition. So it'd be a relatively inexpensive for a park storage building and a maintenance building, as well as maybe some restrooms. Just that thought. I'm a fan of, I like the smaller pier. I totally agree with you guys. And I do kind of like, and there's a reason for this, I kind of like the pavilion down in the center of that open area, only because we have a longtime resident that started working on things like this a long time ago, Carol Burkhardt, and we were kind of thinking of naming something like that after her. And I know she'd be thrilled, and the longtime residents might like that as well. I'm also a fan of maybe one pier, maybe two piers that go out into the wetlands a little bit further. I really like walking out into there and being surrounded by the wetlands and watching the ducks and the birds and the wildlife, and then maybe even having some, I'm not really good on vegetation, but having some education posts and put in by people, and you're out there very quiet, kind of watching nature out there. Not a loop kind of what might provide too much activity, but just a pier out into the wetlands, and just a thought. Otherwise, I kind of like, I don't like the loop drive down in like that sea is, but to get a car down there a little bit closer. Every year I get older, I know that I'm going to have problems, and our handicapped people and or physically challenged, elderly and stuff might like to be able to get down in there instead of having to be wheeled in a wheelchair or something all the way from the Elizabeth Lake Road arm. But man, I'm thrilled. I think what a great start, guys.
Mhm.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And I might just mention that I think the idea of having something further out into the wetland is a great idea. We generally try to loop trails, and very consciously did that in these concepts for safety and security reasons. That it's always nice to have a loop rather than something that comes to a dead end. That if somebody feels uncomfortable in a situation, it gives a couple exit routes rather than being trapped in a dead end.
I
So
appreciate
just
that.
something to think about.
Yeah.
And consider.
Yeah, I have to say I really like Mike's idea about some kind of trail. I agree with Brian that a loop would be better, especially in circumstances such as COVID, that you can walk single file through there. Hopefully we won't have to go through this again, but I also really like the idea of something interpretive there. I think it's really important throughout the park that we do some interpretation of wetlands and some native species, maybe even identify some invasive species. Just, I think an educational piece is really important, and that would be a perfect place to do one of those stations.
Okay. Have I missed anybody? Because otherwise I have a few comments because I've had the benefit of listening to everyone else first. So
Liz is on. Maybe
is
she.
she on
I
there
am.
now? Okay, Liz.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the presentation, and thank you for everybody's input. I would be doing our residents a disservice if I didn't strongly advocate for at least C. I'm approached day and night and everywhere I go nonstop about the excitement of this park, and our residents want a very unique, active recreation area accessible for all ages and stages. It needs to be handicap accessible all the way to the lake. I don't mind pulling the pier back and being good stewards of our lake. I envision the lake being a very peaceful area with benches for all ages to sit and rest and enjoy the beauty. I absolutely would want a playground area for the active growing family. I represent the active growing busy mom, and this needs to be a destination and a hub for all community, all ages in our community. It needs to be a place where parents can and grandparents can take kids and enjoy the park. I'm all for bathrooms. I love the amphitheater idea. I envision this park to be a hub, a community hub to gather for community events, and as well as taking in the beauty of the park. So bare minimum C. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for White Lake, and our residents are begging and pleading for unique and exciting recreation. So I'm going to be a strong advocate for our residents in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. So I'll just make a few short comments. I think a lot of things have been discussed. As far as the wetlands, I like the idea. I was pretty intrigued of at least seeing Mud Lake the other night. If I'm walking around the beach, I don't know if I thought that it was part of this property. It would be cool if we could get all the way down to just from the shoreline to see the beautiful wetlands and stuff over there. Obviously, you'd have to be in a kayak or something to actually go over there, like we saw a big pontoon boat. As far as the beach, I like the more low profile. If you could provide it on a little bit of fishing, that would, improve your application and offer a different recreational activity for families, and accessible. Also, the accessible launch is something, again, that will assist in your application and provide a really easy way to get your kayak or canoe in and out of the lake. Certainly it can be beached. I would like to see a small swimming beach there. That's just kind of like, what is that, Teeple Lake? It's just a small beach, and doesn't have light guards, but so in that way I might want to move that pier off a little bit to one side so there could be just a small family beach with nice sand. I don't see the wetland woodlands in B and C up on the top left. That seems like too many in that area, but I know it's a much bigger area than it appears on these small diagrams. I'm more in the B and C range also. I would like to, that campground area is the heart of the park. It is still protected from views from our neighbors. And I think that would be a great place for the pavilion and a small play lot that would go, people have family picnics and events, and the kids just love to go and play on the play equipment. But I like the woodland idea. I don't have a decision whether I like the loop or not the loop. I just sometimes think of people doing large donuts in the loop, but I know that it's convenient. I think maybe if it was a dead end, then you wouldn't get that much drive-by traffic. I would want to bring it so seniors and people with disabilities are able to get right down to the lake and to the picnic area.
Absolutely.
But up at the top, wherever there needs to be restrooms somewhere, I know there's some alternative methods for dealing with the sewage, and of course that we have that great maintenance building, and maybe restrooms can be added there. I don't have a preference, except I would like to have something on the lower level if possible, just because it's essentially you'd have to drive up to the top if you were anyone my age or older. I kind of like the pickleball idea instead of the fitness center, but maybe there's room enough for both, and the amphitheater up there. I wouldn't be opposed to the amphitheater being part of the Civic Center concept either, as a heart of that. This one's kind of backed up to the driveway, but I think that it's all going to be, we don't have the entire concept by the Civic Center, but it's a possibility that some of those recreational things can go on public land on that property as well. That's just a concept. And I'm hoping there's like maybe a splash pad / fountain that would be in that Civic Center that, would be something that the kids can play in up there in a more active area. But maybe the senior or the fitness center and the pickleball could be combined. Otherwise, I can, ramble on indefinitely, but I will stop.
If I may, Marie, thank you so much for mentioning the splash pad, because I forgot, and that's something that I would love to see as well. So thank you.
Well, if it gets hotter and hotter.
Just a small little one that they can run through.
Just
Yep.
something that maybe is a fountain, kind of like if you go down by the gym, you know, to the Red
Right.
Center. It's a
Right by the
fountain
Detroit River, something
at
just maybe even
zero,
half that size. Yep.
just the jets coming out of the grounds. Now that they've closed the pool at Lakeland, I mean, that was something that the kids just loved. And now it's gone, so.
I agree. I'd love to see that as well. Thank you for
It could be a
bringing that
fountain
up.
as well.
One
Okay,
advantage here, though, is we do have, if it's left natural, the kids can play right on the shore edge, which
right.
is better as well.
Sand and buckets, and that's
Yeah.
that's a wonderful thing. That's why I kind of like to get the beach aspect back into it. The other thing I want to mention, because I did say I would talk indefinitely, was having as the budget that will, you know, some of this might be phased, and I don't think that's part of your purview, but if we can see what, if we have to phase it, what would be the things we could build first, or if we're going to go, the grants are limited, you know, when you're doing something with this many aspects to 300,000. There's a new, the land and water grants going to 500,000 next year. So if we put up 500 and got a 500 grant, then that's $1 million project. And then a lot of this could be done with that, but then that's 50% match. So a lot of different aspects to look at.
Yeah, and thank you, Mary. That's a good reminder that as we progress through this, we will be having those budget conversations and resulting phasing conversations. So that will certainly be part of this process, and something that as we narrow in on a consolidated concept, it would be really good for all of you to start thinking about priorities. If budgets are such that the entire park cannot be accomplished at once, what things would rise to the top?
Yeah, like if you did 400,000 a year, which sounds like a lot, but if we did say 30% match, then most of that's grant money, but the size of the grants are limited.
Mhm.
Well, Brian, what do you think? You have enough information to?
Yes, yeah, that's all great inputs. Thank you very, very much for everybody's time and thoughtfulness. And I also just wanted to let you all know that Caitlin is in the background tonight. She's a busy mom doing double duty.
Hi, everybody.
Caitlin.
Doing childcare and taking notes. But I wanted to just let you all know that she is absolutely integral to this, and the work that you see on the screen is her. So.
Oh, I want to just, I forgot to add Justin in for his opinion. He's our Parks and Rec department, and I know that Rick has ideas. You guys must have seen this before tonight. So what do you guys think at the,
Sure.
at the Township Hall?
So I know you guys just saw this for the first time tonight, so we'll get it to you so you can, you know, look at it, have it, and, you know, if you want to jot some comments down in an email, you know, in addition to what you gave tonight, feel free. I think that Brian, you know, to start, someone made the comment that, you know, we've got different pockets of land to work with, and the property is 57 acres, but you can see we have islands of upland to work with. So with that said, though, I think that we can, you know, really have almost all, you know, have it all and still maintain the rustic element. There's concepts of A, B, and C that we like, you know, potentially the shore-based fishing platform from A, and maybe the access from B, where you have, you know, it comes down and ends in a roundabout or a cul-de-sac, but doesn't loop all the way around, you know, that center island. So we don't have as much paving or parking. And maybe we can land bank some of that parking that you see in B, so we're not constructing it all at once and over parking the park, and we can add it later if we need to. We like the, I think we definitely need to consider having an amphitheater or some type of performance venue. And if we are doing some type of phasing, maybe that's in a later phase where when the Civic Center is built, we can come back and add the performance venue. And I think up near the Elizabeth Lake Road entrance is where it should be. Like everyone said, it keeps it away from the water. I think the fitness court or the fitness idea, I like that. So like I said, there's a lot of things that we like. Maybe the central hub, with the gazebo and the pathways. We did like the loop trail system with potentially, like Mike said, some extensions out into the wetland. That was a nice idea. So there's really, we like elements of all three. As a staff, we want to try to keep that cement building up near the road, like you said, for restrooms, potentially for maybe maintenance, storage. Maybe it can be a staging area for any type of performance venue. So I think there's a lot here, and like Trustee Smith said, we're trying to build a park for everybody, and we have a rustic park in Bloomer, and so we can maybe have a little bit more development here, but still maintain the rustic feel of it by the type of pavilions and structures that are on the property. And if you look at C, I mean, there's still a significant portion of trees in the central portion of that property, and the very large mature trees that you guys were referencing at the beginning, the 100-year-old trees are up near the where the park property meets the Civic Center. And if we have a driveway that's somewhat like C, that runs to the east of that cement building, we can save all those trees and keep the well for water for bathrooms in that building if that's where we decide to have them. So like I said, there's a lot that we like, and from all three, and I think that we really can have it all. It's just, like we said, phasing it and budget, but that's something that we'll work on.
Okay, that sounds good. I do want to also mention that the grant programs can fund improvements on the Civic Center or even the library site if we extend, say, the trail along there, or did some other things over there that we couldn't fit in the wetlands because we have so many wetlands. So that you just have to carton them off, and exclude the place where you want to put buildings. So I think we gave our consultants lots of homework. For our people on the phone, please, communicate some of these ideas back to your neighborhood associations, and you can send comments directly to Justin.
And so everyone knows, this meeting was broadcast live on YouTube. It'll be up after the fact as well. So if anyone that's listening from the public wants to tell their friends or their neighbors of what went on tonight, you can direct them to the Township YouTube channel, and this will be up so they can view the discussion, view the concepts. This will be available for in the office on file if anyone wants to come in and look or ask questions. And as we get more information to share, we're definitely doing that. And like I said, we want as much public participation as possible. So I can't express that enough, that we want everyone in this township who has any type of interest whatsoever in this property to come forward and share it at any point along the way.
Yeah, that's really a great thing that normally this would not be recorded. So there's some benefits to the remote meetings, however awkward they are otherwise. All right. Is there anything else we need on this particular item?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Brian.
Bill.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you, Brian and Caitlin.
Thank you.
Hey, I gotta find my agenda. That was, don't have any other business, but we can go around the table, so to speak, for other comments on other things. Andrea, start with you again.
The township board is meeting virtually till the end of the year per the governor's orders. We still have been busy with long agendas. And I'm not gonna make it long, but I just want to thank everyone for putting their faith in me and re-electing me for another 4 years. I'm excited to be a part of it, and I love representing White Lake Township. Thank you.
All of our new re-elected people. Kathleen?
I have nothing to add.
Okay, thank you.
I will
Deb?
speak on behalf of Kathleen that she will be, with consent from the Parks and Rec Committee, the township's liaison to the Huron River Watershed Council.
Wonderful.
Kathleen's background makes her a well-suited candidate for that, and she's volunteered to fill that role for us, and it's been vacant for a while. She's done this in the past and took a break from it for a while, but she's willing to do it again, so I want to publicly thank her for that.
Well, thank you, Justin. The thinking with that is that it's important. You know, we're at the headwaters here in White Lake of the Huron River, and we have the most pristine part of the river, and it's our responsibility to keep that up. But also, it's proactive for this project. I know that the people on Brundle Lake, as well as the rest of the township, are very concerned about preserving their property values and preserving the quality of the lake. And I think that by having a presentation in the near future by the Huron River Watershed Council and by me being involved, we're going to want to know things. What are the water levels? How are they established? What is dammed and who regulates the dams? What are spring fed? What are dammed? Because many of the lakes here are just dammed Huron River, and people don't understand that. So I think the more education we can do to the citizens to have them understand, it'll help us in the end, having them say, you know, you lowered our water levels, you did this, you did that, because we clearly don't want to do that. But also with climate change, we're going to see either a lot more drought or a lot of more precipitation. So I think it would be good to have us be aware and establish a baseline at this point so we know what normal is, or at least what the new normal is. So thank you, Justin, for those kind words.
I'll be excited to see a presentation from them. Just, yeah, let us know when that can occur.
Our thought was, depending on where we're at with the master plan, maybe January or February, start the year next year with a presentation. I think next month, I don't want to speak for Brian and Caitlin. They may be back at our December meeting, depending on how things are going. Maybe they'll be back in January. So I'm not going to pin them down to a meeting, but they will be back again. So obviously that's our priority right now, is getting this master plan done so we can meet our grant application deadline by April 1st of 2021. But I think early next year, Kathleen, is when we can try to shoot for the presentation.
They're in the same situation as us. They're not in the office, and they're all meeting by Zoom. So let's see how quickly we can pull that together. It probably won't be until sometime till January, February, maybe even March.
They can call Beckett Rader and learn how to give a great presentation over Zoom.
Yes.
All right. We don't have our liaison for some things. Deb, you want to chime in?
Nothing particular to add. I'm glad. Congrats, Kathleen, and welcome back, Mike and Andrea.
Thanks.
Michael, you're an honorary member tonight.
No, I'm just thrilled. My heart's with Parks and Rec and Pathways, and I thank everyone for all your input.
Liz, are you still here? Oh,
I am. Thank you.
Oh, good.
No, I'm here. So thank you so much for inviting Trustee Powell and I to join your Parks and Recs meeting tonight. Thank you. I too am excited to be reelected to represent the good people of White Lake Township along with my fellow colleagues. And it was very nice to hear all of your input today. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your ideas and your thoughts. And I'm very much looking forward to working with all of you and our residents to create this beautiful park. Thank you.
Very exciting. And CJ, I know that I left you to the end. And are you still here?
Yes, I'm here. I
Okay,
just want to thank Brian and the team at Beckett Raider for putting together multiple opportunities for us to discuss tonight, and everyone on their comments tonight. I feel like, we each had different ideas, and together we can get something really good here for the community. So I look forward to working with everybody on that. And I also want to thank Mr. Powell for coming tonight to the meeting. I know he brings a lot to the table from the engineering background, and, working together, everyone in the community, I feel like we can really get something special here. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time and for your comments.
okay, with that, I think we have completed our agenda. Our next meeting is December 9th, is that correct?
Yep,
Justin?
and we'll be back to Wednesday that night. We had to move for the Veterans Day holiday this month, but we'll be back to our normal Wednesday meeting next month.
Fantastic, and I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting, and we need a second and a roll call vote.
I'll support that.
Justin, can you give us a roll call?
Sure. Mary Carlock,
Yes.
CJ Brada,
Yes.
Kathleen Asseltine,
Yes.
Deb Darren,
Yes.
Andrea Voorhees.
Yes.
All right.
Everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
Good
Thank-
meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
See you again,
everyone.
Deb.
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you, Brian. Thank you,
Thank
Hannah.
Thank you. Good night.